What if we changed even the way that we organized the retail branch to a place where people would want to come? There's a reason why they would go there, not because they have to. In the past, we had to come in the branch, cash a check, make a transfer, right? And you had the queue lines look like Disney, especially on a Friday afternoon, right? Mm-hmm. All these people cashing checks or whatever. Nowadays, today, even in your building right here at 11 o'clock, there's not going to be a huge line of people waiting to do something downstairs.
No,
right?
the average, and each location is completely different. So in our location here in DeLand, the people that are going to come into the branch typically is senior citizens with CDs and businesses that deal in cash. So they're change orders.
Right.
So that's what you're going to see on the average for that.
That's right.
And still people that, for most part, a lot of people still want to come in the branch to open up an account.
Yeah. Even though you have online account opening, even you have other ways that
you know what?
do that.
I'm kind of different. We don't provide the online account opening.
That's fine.
And here's the reason why. Because 99% of the banks that have done that, it's fraud. As soon as they add the frictionless, the account opening, majority of them. Yeah. So we open up accounts remotely, but we integrate and make sure that customer service representative is talking to that person. Yes. And to reduce fraud.
So long term, I think that when we think about technology, and let's just use online account opening, for example, because I think you're right. If I don't put eyes on somebody, if I'm not physically looking at their, driver's license or, forms of ID and so on and so forth, the idea that fraudulent accounts could be opened is certainly an important one and one that's likely to happen. But as time goes on, and you start thinking about innovatively, what if somebody wanted to open an account at Surety Bank? What if they wanted to do that remotely, and they're not trying to do it fraudulently?
Of course.
Is there a way we can accommodate that? And so you start thinking about, what if we ask somebody to take a picture, a selfie, with them holding their driver's license right next to their face?
For $15 and only fakes, you can pass that. It'll pass the KYC.
Right. But again, there's other metadata that comes as a part of that picture, right? It's like, I know that they're somewhere here in Central Florida, not in Uzbekistan, and so on and so forth. So all I'm suggesting is that there's nothing wrong with saying we want to open accounts, and put eyes on and make sure they're not fraudulent. But we have to think about, what's the mechanism, what's the way that if somebody wanted to open an account and didn't want to physically come in to do that we could do that in a safe and sound manner. And so that's the target of innovation. So to your earlier point, what's the point of innovation? Why are banks behind, right? Is because they're not focused on outcomes. What's the outcome that I want? I want to open a new account. I want to get as many people to open a new account at my bank as possible. And so if there is a way that I could innovate and do that to the point where you would feel comfortable that I can do this with a minimum amount of potential fraud that happens, but yet still enabling somebody who wants that online account opening experience, that might be the angle of innovation.